when Senator Gerald Ortiz-Pino said this about child abuse.
These are acts of passion, of momentary insanity, of craziness, of craziness.
New Mexico, the land of enchantment, only becoming a state on January 6, 1912. This is where Oppenheimer would take witness to the first nuclear bomb weeks before it would be used on the Japanese. Where aliens would run out of gas and crash into Earth, marking man's first contact with extraterrestrials. It's been home to ancient tribes for thousands of years that would give way to legends like Geronimo. And it seems rather fitting that it would be best known for its chili. It's absolutely beautiful, but there's something wrong here. Here in our fracturing America, out of the 50 of our states, 35 of them have found the time to make statutory laws outlining that the solicitation of a minor is to be considered a felony. Some states, like Nevada, seem to have well thought out and clear laws that deal specifically with the cyber aspect of this crime. Others, like Wyoming, while not as complex and detailed, still leave just enough rope. 12 states have not yet felt the need to pass any statutory laws. The crime of child solicitation, however, in these states is still an indictable and arrestable offense. They simply defer to the discretion of the judges, looking at the totality of the circumstances to pass down sentencing. Even these states' own recommendations don't play too many games. In some states like Louisiana, they will technically lock your ass up for more than 10 years, including hard labor. And in Kentucky, they say that they will charge you for every day a person knowingly communicates with who they believe to be a minor. And whether you tried to meet or not, you've done enough to be dragged from your home. Of course, when I was in Kentucky, the officers, they told me they couldn't arrest them on scene either. Only 3 lovely states from sea to shining sea have gone out of their way to draft a bill, vote on, and pass into law that the solicitation of a minor shall only be a misdemeanor. These few and special states would include California, which seems to be devolving completely into some sort of human version of the rat utopia experiment. Ohio's another winner, which I know nothing about, other than you guys have the plague and apparently extremely lax laws on attempted child abuse. The one you guys should be most familiar with by now is New Mexico. By New Mexico's own definition, if you have possession of a child with the intent to commit a crime, you are guilty of a misdemeanor. It's like living in the Twilight Zone. If you look into the case of the state of New Mexico versus Perea in 2008, this was said. Where the 13-year-old minor victim voluntarily entered the defendant's car, the defendant and the victim drove around all day. The victim was frightened but did not feel that she could summon for help. The defendant determined the route, stops, and controlled the course of events. The victim was not of legal driving age and could not take control of the car, and the defendant's purpose was to have sex with the victim. The defendant had possession of the victim. Incredible. So again, I paused and asked, why? In my quest for answers, I found I wasn't the only person who had asked similar questions. Enter Candace Gould. She is a former Republican senator for the 10th District of New Mexico. When she came into office in 2017, it appears she came out swinging, hoping to get some harsher punishments for crimes against children, with Senate Bill 159 and 160. Proposals which appeared to have been tossed by the wayside until they were postponed indefinitely. Senate Bill 160 specifically set out to simply bring New Mexico's unique child enticement laws into the modern age. When you open the fiscal impact report, you will notice that the concerns of the state are mostly concerned with the caseloads and the requirements of additional judge time. The document appears to counter this argument, stating there would likely only be a minimal impact of felony results from this bill. Here is Candace Gould advocating for the bill herself.
Senate Bill 61 is a very important bill to protect our children. Right now, if you walk up to a child and entice them away for illicit purposes, it's a misdemeanor. But if you go online and do the same thing, it's a felony. So we just want to bring that level of enticement up to speed with what's going on online.
Oh, did I forget to mention, New Mexico already has felony level charges for online solicitation? Oh yes, the plot thickens. You see, New Mexico has in place 2 felony level laws, one for electronic solicitation and the other for criminal sexual communication with a minor. So why do they have a special law that for some reason supersedes both of these?
Because you guys technically can't do anything.
Yeah, it's a misdemeanor for the child enticement. Like me and him were discussing right now, we're running by a sergeant just to make sure there's nothing we missed. But like I said, it's a misdemeanor in New Mexico. Unfortunately, we can't arrest on scene.
Now I can hear what you might be thinking. This is silly government oversight or just some legal redundancy. But no, when given the chance to reform this in 2017, they didn't bother to change a thing. When you open up the committee reports for Senate Bill 160, it states that they saw it, they were forced to discuss it, and since they couldn't get a majority, it pretty much became gridlocked and doomed to die. Left confused, I wanted to see what kind of pig-headed baboons in the New Mexico Senate would actually vote no to such a bill. Gerald or TZ Pino? Looks like you're the chairman. And it looks like you voted no. Interesting. Mr. Pino here has been in office since 2005 for the Democratic Party. He was a social worker before starting a 17-year-long, unopposed career in the New Mexico Senate, where he holds power to this day. Now, I'm not going to say anything in this video about the system and social workers, but those who know. So why is it still a misdemeanor to be moments away from destroying a child's life?
New details on a story you saw only on 7. Senator Gerald Ortiz-Pino, who raised eyebrows when he called child abuse an act of passion, is responding to the firestorm of criticism.
Action 7 News anchor Tanya Mendez caught up with the senator in Santa Fe who defended his comments.
When Senator Gerald Ortiz-Pino said this about child abuse,
These are acts of passion, of momentary insanity, of craziness.
His comments raised eyebrows and tempers. Ortiz-Pino made the comments about abuse while lawmakers were considering a bill that would bring harsher jail sentences for crimes against children. That bill was tabled so the tougher jail time won't become law. But what did he mean when he said abuse is an act of passion? Explain what that means,
Sure.
Because a lot of people are confused by that and concerned by that.
I don't know why they would be. I mean, most of the time when somebody is abusive to a child, it's because they lose it.
Strange how when you smell something rotting and you follow that smell, you usually find something rotting.
Ortiz-Pino says he'd like to see a task force made up of legislators, judges, and other professionals to help craft more comprehensive legislation. He says that usually happens with bills pertaining to major issues, but it didn't for this one. He thinks this particular bill is more about a political agenda.
What's so political about this bill, Jerry? Because I missed it. Stay informed. Oh, and did you know, Jeffrey Epstein has a famous ranch in New Mexico called the Zorro Ranch. I'm sure it's probably nothing.